Well, yeah, all right, we are live. This is Craig Harris, the black man in the blue chair, here in a house coat because I got to work tonight. I am joined. A little after this podcast, I'll be hitting the sheets. But I'm here with my main man, Widowmaker. Widowmaker, go ahead and shout yourself out.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Widowmaker here, the regular dude from the comment section, just like you.
All righty. Well, yeah. Well, as you can see, from the title of the podcast of Scalebound being canceled and little Xbox1 on life support because this is I think the third IP they've canceled for the Xbox1. When you look at Fable and then Phantom Dust. And I thought they were bringing Phantom Dust back.
Yeah,
but I was saying,
I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah, I was saying earlier in the podcast. All right, the reason I bought the Xbox1 was one, they had Elite Dangerous on there, and I don't have a gaming PC yet, so I'm like, well, if I want to play that, I got to get that, and also just being, I bought the 360 because I'm a big Mass Effect guy. I'm like a Mass Effect junkie, and it used to be Mass Effect was born on the Xbox 360. That's where everything got started. And first things first, why do you think this game didn't work out? Because Platinum made Neuro Amamati, for whatchamacallit, like you were mentioning in your comment. Yeah. And if they could make that and get it out, and it's supposed to be out, at least the demo was out. Who knows? Maybe they'll cancel the final game. The demo was out. The demo was fun. But what do you think this means long term, possibly for Microsoft? Because this is a brand new IP. Yeah, they went after Platinum Games and it didn't work out. What do you think?
I don't think it's really. I mean, it looks bad on Microsoft's part, and I think that's the part where everybody's going to zero in on is just the fact that hey, Microsoft canceled this IP and stuff like that. But I think nobody really asks well, okay, why did they cancel the IP? And everything, and I think a lot of that falls back onto Platinum and everything like that. And if you look at some of the articles and stuff like that and everything, it'll tell you Platinum had a lot of stuff going on over there, man. I mean, they had I want to say a couple lead developers or something like that was on the game and stuff like that. They were so stressed out from the workload that those dudes literally just took a month off.
All right.
And I mean, for real. Yeah, for real. They literally just took a month off. And when they came back, they was behind schedule and stuff like that. So, I think it really doesn't mean too much for Microsoft because it's not like everything was going perfectly fine. And Microsoft was just like, man, you know what? Forget this. Just cut it. That's not what happened. I think Microsoft wanted this game, fans and stuff like that, like me, wanted this game. Yeah. But Platinum couldn't get it out, because they were working on Scalebound, they were working on Nier. I think they may have had a couple other things, like in the woodworks as well, stuff like that. So I think they were stretched thin, and those dudes were stressed. Right. I mean, those dudes were stressed the hell out and everything. And then, because Scalebound was supposed to come out last year, right? Back in 2016.
Yeah, a lot of them got slated. They were supposed to. It was spring, then they pushed it to the fall. It's like, all right, well, that
yeah. See, so what happened was, hey, I'm assuming this game, it was supposed to be at a certain point in development. It's supposed to be, if it was supposed to come out in 2016, you had to be at least in a certain point in development at a certain point in time. Right. And if you're not at that, certain point in development, then guess what? You ain't gonna make your release window. So what happens? It get pushed back to 2017, which is it was exactly what happened. And I think, man, some stuff was going on with that. Like I said, dudes are working on the game that took a month off and come back and they behind schedule, and they was already behind schedule and everything. So I think Microsoft just like, man, look, hey, if y'all can't, I think they was having problems from like one of the articles, they was having problems with the game engine and all kind of other stuff. And I think they really just couldn't get the game done. Nier Automata, that was pretty much, that wasn't too different from what they normally do. That was, I think that was an easier task for them. That wasn't too much different than how they normally do games and stuff like that. But Scalebound was something, it's something that they hadn't done before. It was I think they tried to bite off too much at this particular point in time.
Right.
I think they had too much on their plate. I think they couldn't dedicate themselves to something that big, and then they was having problems with it and everything, and all that stuff just didn't jive, man. And I think Microsoft was kind of right to go ahead and pull the plug. Otherwise, we've been like you said, this game was debuted in what, 2014, 2015, something like that.
Yeah, they actually showed this in either, I don't know if it was
Gamescom. Yeah, I want to say Gamescom, like 2014, 2015 or something like that.
Yeah.
And everything. And, man, honestly, now this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
If they was having development problems like this and stuff like that going on, man, this thing could have been the Xbox version of The Last Guardian. We probably like would have been hearing about this game for the next 2 or 3 years, and it's still stuck in development hell. Because, and I think Microsoft was like, man, if y'all can't get this game out, we can't keep sinking money into this. This game was supposed to be out last year. And honestly, I think if they would have kept going, I don't think it would have been coming out this year. It probably would have got delayed again if they was having those types of problems. And I think Microsoft would just put an axe to it before it even got that bad.
Yeah, see, I don't know how canceling a game is good. So if you need to push it back more to give that dev more time, and you brought up The Last Guardian. I mean, The Last Guardian to me, even on the PlayStation, even with Eco and then Shadow of the Colossus, those were niche titles anyway.
Mm-hmm.
This was and I have no idea how much they spent on them, but I know it's selling. It's so well. I mean, it's selling okay considering what with Eco and then Shadow of the Colossus. It's right in line with that. I think it's tracking a little bit better than Eco, but I don't know if it's doing as well as Shadow of the Colossus. So the people that have bought it, they say it's pretty good. I mean, that's going by the guys on Weapon Wheel and a couple other people that have streamed. But there's some people out there I know that don't like it. But how is Microsoft? I mean, so now we're left with, they have Halo Wars 2. I think that comes out in a couple weeks, a few more weeks. And then that's it. I mean, there's nothing else because Sea of Thieves does not have a release date. And let's say that comes out in April. Do you think that's it until they get to possibly E3? Shout out to the one viewer that's here, by the way.
That same one viewer, boy. That's
I know.
Google.
I appreciate it.
The eye in the sky watching you, bro. But, as far as games and stuff like that, most of the stuff that's coming out this year, we've already previously heard about at least maybe a year or two ago or something like that and everything. So, Microsoft doesn't have as many conferences as Sony. Sony has like other than E3 and Gamescom, they got the PSX, they got, the little Tokyo Game Show. They have other venues, so you can get more game information about what they're doing because they have more platforms to speak, throughout the year to speak on. Microsoft, usually you just hear stuff from them mostly at either E3 or Gamescom. That's when they come out and say what they got to say. So, I think we're going to get more games that we pretty much don't know about. I don't think we're going to go into E3 or something like that and we're just going to have the same old stuff that we didn't heard about for the last year or two and stuff like that. So I think Microsoft has some more stuff to show us. We just don't know what the hell it is and everything. So all we can go by is what we've known.
Yeah, they're gonna have to show something because it's it's looking bad. I mean, I looked at, if you go to GameStop, I guess shout out to GameStop for the people that still go. When you look at the list of games that are coming out, and their list of games, at least the GameStop I go to, they have them kind of listed weekly. oh my, what's that? But when they sit up there and they're like, you're seeing Get Gravity Rush and then Horizon Zero Dawn and Yakuza 0, all that is releasing here in the next 35 days.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Who knows? I mean, I don't know if those games are gold yet, but Gravity Rush is supposed to ship next week. So, but when one of your main companies, you have the Switch press conference in 48 hours. So these companies are coming out, and Nintendo, no matter what, is going to show you an exclusive title. It may be a Mario, maybe Donkey Kong, who knows? But what is so? Do you think Microsoft is pretty much just going to kind of limp into E3 if they can get Sea of Thieves out? I'm just putting April out there. That's 90 days. Well, shout out to the 2 viewers that are in here now. All right.
Yeah. Man, you know what? Honestly, man, I can't say. I'm waiting to see what they do, just like everybody else, man. Honestly, but I kind of feel like they got their titles that's supposed to be coming out this year and stuff like that. I don't know exactly when.
Yeah.
Because we don't have release dates for a lot of this stuff and everything else like that. So
Yeah, true enough.
So like they have their titles, and them, losing, them acting scalebound. I think people are going overboard a little bit with it and everything. They canceled it because I think they feel like the game, like Platinum couldn't make the game. They was having problems with Platinum making the game and stuff like that. So they pulled it. They still own the IP. I don't know what they're gonna do with it. I don't know if they're gonna have somebody else try to make it. Which I don't think they really can or something like that, because it was the director of Platinum Games, that was his vision. It was his concept for the game and everything. It was the game that he wanted to make. He brought it to Microsoft, but Microsoft owns the IP.
Correct. Yeah, they bought it's kind of the same way Microsoft did with Halo. They bought Bungie. It was activated only when Bungie made Halo, so Halo could be exclusive. And that was a Bill Gates thing. Then when they weren't making Halo games, Bungie could make games for anybody. But when they were making Halo, it had to be Daniel Briggs in the chat says that I'm so pissed at Microsoft right now. I bought an Xbox One this past Christmas for Scalebound. Now it's never coming out. Yeah, I mean, Daniel, look, I was on a podcast earlier today, and I sold my Xbox One S. I mean, I had Elite Dangerous for it, and now that's coming to the PlayStation. That's been officially announced, and they're actually going to get the Horizon DLC for it. I think that's what it's called, where you can actually land on planets and stuff like that. They're getting that for free. And the thing that pissed me off, and those are his words, was what happened with Mass Effect. This is for Daniel. I'm a big Mass Effect fan, and Mass Effect was born on the Xbox One, and now they get the inferior multi-plat version of that game. I mean, it's like a smack in the face. It's like somebody came into your house and smacked your wife, and then ate the chicken out of the refrigerator. If you don't have the Pro, throw the Pro out. And I'm not trying to make it a Sony podcast. It's not really about that. But Sony's version of Mass Effect is going to look better. They're both locked at 30, so they're both going to run the same. But that's disappointing. As a Mass Effect fan, throw everything else out the window. As a huge Mass Effect fan, to know that game was born on the 360, and now in order for me to get the ultimate version of the game, I gotta go get a Sony system. As a consumer, that sucks. And as a Mass Effect fan, or as a consumer, it's kind of like okay, but as a Mass Effect fan, I don't like that. So
I mean, Ben, I mean, right now, Sony has, at this point in time, Sony has the strongest home console you can buy. And if Mass Effect is a multi-plat that's on all the consoles, hey, that's just where the chips fall. I mean, there really ain't too much you can do about that. There really ain't nobody you can blame or nothing like that at that point in time. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's just
and
yeah.
stuff. So hey,
It's disappointing. And then you get this news because that news came out last week, which with the release date. Let me make sure they have a release date, but it's not gold yet. And somebody just text or tweeted me saying, "Do I have it on reserve yet?" No, because they haven't given a gold date yet.
For Mass Effect, I thought it was supposed to be it's either like March or February, ain't it?
Yes, you're right. It's March 21st, but they haven't made it a gold date. So since it's not gold, they could push it back. There's still a lot of people think it's going to be pushed back. Yeah, so I'm going to reserve it as soon as they say Mass Effect Andromeda is gold. That means it's going to come out on that day. So yeah, you're right as far as hitting benchmarks because Mass Effect was made by 3 different companies. Part is BioWare, but it's like BioWare Texas and BioWare Edmonton and BioWare Montreal. Mm-hmm. And all three of those companies have to hit the benchmarks. There's, in order just to get it to where it is now. I mean, it's what you saw at the NVIDIA conference was a beta. So that was the beta mode of it. So if they're already that far into the beta, that game technically should go hard copy at the beginning of March. That's when they should be they should be finishing that game up. The voice actors, you can find them online, and a couple of them will even do interviews with you. I've actually sat in and listened to a couple people who do interviews. So yeah, that game was when they were already doing interviews. I'm like, well, that game was pretty far along with all the voice acting's done. So because as big as that game is, but do you think that so do you think Phil Spencer and the boys up in Redmond, they're going to put all their chips on the Scorpion and just say it's going to be a UHD device? Because we think it's going to become like a Steam machine. Steam is going to, has a certain amount of games on it, that you have to have Alienware for, and then you just download stuff to it. If that's what they're doing, that's fine.
Nah, man, nah. I mean, I think folks is, they see this stuff with Microsoft closing this or canceling Scalebound, man, and they just going high and to the right with it for real, man. I mean, because if that's the case, hey, what you doing, buddy? Yeah, I got my little son here. So, if that's the case, then people should have been losing their minds when Sony came up with PS Now. I mean, because PS Now is essentially what people are thinking Microsoft is gonna be doing. Start making Xbox a service or something like that. I mean, PlayStation already did that, and nobody's really, tripping off of that and everything else like that. So,
well, that's because it's a I mean, PS Now is not a selling point. Like, I didn't even know that existed. I mean, somebody actually.
But still, it's what they did is they took a whole bunch of PlayStation games, and stuff like that and everything, and they essentially made it a service. You don't even need a PlayStation console to play the PlayStation games. You can go get a PlayStation, a DualShock 3 controller and the right TV, and you playing PlayStation games.
Yeah, it has to be a Sony,
So,
it has to be a Sony device. Yeah, it's a Sony device. Yeah, you're right, but the Blu-rays
it doesn't have to be a Sony device. It's whatever they put that service on and everything. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Sony device. Like right now, it's on PC. PlayStation Now is on PC and everything. So
yeah, which they said this is 17. They said like midway through 2016 that they were going to put some of their old, stuff like I can't even remember some of those games. I can't even remember Demolition Derby, the Demolition Derby game or something like that. That's on PC. A lot of the older PS1 games are on PC, and like XCOM and maybe even The Last of Us, but I don't know if there's any PS3 games. It could be. I haven't looked.
I'm telling you. With PS Now being on PC. All those PS Now games, which includes which is mostly PS3 games. I mean, Uncharted 1, 2, 3, God of War, whatever, this, that, and whatever, and everything. If you go look up whatever's on PS Now, you can go play that on PC without having a Sony console. You can whatever you can get PS Now on. If you just got the right kind of TV that has it and stuff, you can grab you a DualShock 3 controller. No Sony console bought. needed, nothing like that. You just pay your money for the PS Now, and you rocking PlayStation games. They essentially made PlayStation a service, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, I know.
and
I
no
know.
one batted an eye and stuff
Uh-huh.
like that and everything. So, you know, and the PlayStation console market is still alive and kicking and doing well. So, you know, I don't see why people are thinking Microsoft is actually going to make Xbox a service
Well, no,
and
I'm
stuff
just
like that.
again. I know with PS Now with the on the higher end, because I don't know if you can get that on a Samsung TV or I thought it had to be a Sony device. I thought it had to be either the like their Blu-ray players, their high-end Blu-ray players, not their $60 ones, and then their higher end TVs. Just because my brother's got he got a so he didn't buy it. His girlfriend got him a Sony TV, one of the nicer ones, and it came with that. It does come with that because he was asking me how he even plays. I'm like, I said, man, I think you got to go out and get a controller, you know, to make it work. But if you want to play those, and those are older games. I mean, like I said, but they're on there. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not available. They're on there.
Yeah.
Do you think Microsoft has more IP? What was the IP they showed? Was it last year? I mean, it was the year before last when the person was in space. They were like on a space station. It was a first part. It was a first. It was a first. But it looked pretty interesting.
I think I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it either, but I think I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've not heard anything else about that at all.
No,
maybe we see that. You know, maybe we see.
You know what? I'm not sure if that was like one of those. What is it? The little thing that they have on there, the stuff that's like the game preview stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
Because I know they still got some games in there, like in the game preview that haven't, you know, I guess really, I don't know if they've come out and fully released or whatever or something like that or whatever. But you know, right now the biggest game that they've got coming out, you know, which we still haven't had a release date for and everything like that, you know, and I guess we still keeping our fingers crossed. I mean, is that we know of right now is Crackdown and stuff like that. So, you know, if something happens to that, you know what, you know, and then I would say, man, you know what, maybe we need to start worrying about some stuff now.
Yeah. Now let me ask you about now. Yeah, because well, somebody in the chat, Daniel, he was saying that he thought he had heard that Crackdown was in trouble. So what have you heard about that? I've not.
You know what, I've just that people have heard Crackdown is in trouble. I mean, that's pretty much what I've heard. You know, I haven't heard anything really concrete from anywhere about, you know, pretty much about Crackdown being in trouble or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I know that, you know, that having to do with all the cloud stuff and everything else like that and everything. I don't think. And if you notice, Microsoft stopped talking about it. They stopped talking about Crackdown. They stopped talking about the cloud. And I think Phil Spencer says something about, you know, he's not going to really bring that up anymore until they got something to show, and which makes sense. You know, which makes sense. You know, you keep talking about something, but you can't show nobody. You know, but you don't have any tangible proof of anything you're saying and everything. Then, you know, it just becomes an easy target to talk about and becomes a myth or whatever and everything else like that. So, you know, I think he's just going to wait until they have their stage, you know, and I think pretty much everything right now is hinging on what they show at E3. Unless they have some other type of conference or something like that before E3 to where they, you know, speak about games and everything. But I think that's where they're going to do most of their talking and stuff like that right there is when they have that stage at E3. You know, that's when they're going to show, you know, hey, if they got something for Crackdown, they going to have to show it then. You know, if they got anything, you know, anything else they've been working on, they going to have to show it then. And, you know, I'll put it to you like this. If E3 comes and goes and we don't see no Crackdown, some actual footage, or as far as, or something about his, hey, it's come release date, hey, it'll be out, with when Scorpio releases or something like that and everything. If we don't see any brand new IPs, even if they don't come this year or something like that, if we don't see any brand new IPs or anything like that, then it's time to worry, because it's like, man, it's been, all the games you've shown, we've been seeing for the last, 2 years or something like that. What the hell have y'all been doing for the last 2 years? What the hell y'all been working on, bro? I mean, y'all been, it's been taking 3 years for us to get, the same old stuff that you've been promising or that we've been seeing and stuff. So, they're going to have to show us some new stuff. I mean, because they can't get up there at E3 for like a 90-minute conference and show us the same shit that they've been showing us for the last 2 years.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, somebody has in the chat. All right, Grim, I'm gonna try to resend it to you. Apparently, he's not getting my invites. So let me retype that in. Somebody said that. Let's see here. It was Daniel here. Yeah, he agrees with you as far as Crackdown gameplay. Now, you think they need to actually show it on the floor? I mean, like, well, E3, there's a whole bunch going on. You think they need to show it on the main stage, or what about if they have a demo of it on the floor, like a playable demo on the floor?
They need. I think they need to actually show. I think they really need to show actual in-game on a Scorpio running or something like that, or Xbox1, something that shows, hey, this isn't just this is something that's running on this console. We've come this far on this game. This shit is damn near ready to come out. We've gotten this far. Give us some, just give us some reassurance that, hey, we've been working on this stuff. It's still on track. It's coming out this year, and just, basically, if they can give us a release date and it's this year, then I think that would smooth over a lot of, people's anxieties about some shit and everything else like that. But I think they do, and I think they do, and I think they will, if they do show it, show some gameplay. I mean, because we've seen a little bit, we've seen somewhat like a tech demo type thing. I think was it like maybe like, was it 2015? Maybe 2015 or 2016.
That was 2014.
Was it?
Are you talking about when it showed like the buildings coming apart or something like that?
Yeah, was that 2014?
That was I think that was E3 24. It may, all right.
No.
It was 15. Let's just say it was 15. I thought it was 14, but I could be wrong.
No,
it was a long time ago.
No, because I think in 14 all we got was that CG trailer, and we just kind of knew it was coming. I think in 15, I think that's when they actually had the little tech demo stuff and stuff like that. Because I thought like in the summer of 2016, that's when it was supposed to have some demo out for us, but we never got anything.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you about Throwback Gaming. Said it says that Xbox. Well, you can talk about this one. I'm gonna find King on Twitter and hit him with an invite thing, because it's not going to him. But he says Throwback Gaming. This is in the chat window. Says Xbox seems stuck in last generation game development. A lot of gamers want to branch out and try niche games from varying genres, and Xbox ain't bringing it. Do you think that do you think them canceling this type of IP kind of gives weight to that statement, or do you feel that later on down the road we may see something? Because what you were saying to me on the chats is that you don't think they're going to be sending out they're not going to make any type of new IP for the Scorpion proper. Like you can only be played on Scorpion. They're going to always make it.
No.
So do you think they're just going to be stuck with Gears and Halo and stuff like that, or about what do you think about the diversity or the lack of diversity of.
I mean, the Xbox, the Scorpio is, you know, it's still an Xbox One. Like I said, it's not going to have any specific games developed for Scorpio, except the stuff for, except any VR titles and stuff like that and everything, because the Scorpio is the only Xbox console that handles VR. So anything that's VR wise, something like that, that's only going to be on the Scorpio, because it can't be on the Xbox One, because it doesn't support any VR or anything else like that. So I mean, but everything that every Xbox comes out with, it's still going to say Xbox One on the cover of the game and stuff like that, and it's just going to be playable on all the Xbox consoles, Scorpio included, all the Xbox One consoles. Just like the way there isn't any PS4 Pro exclusive games. All the games still say PS4, and it just works on the whole PS4 family. The original one, the Slim, and the Pro, and everything. And that's all Microsoft is doing. It's the exact same thing. It's being mirrored there. But they're going to come out with whatever they're going to come out with, man. And if it's niche titles and stuff like that, all those new IPs and stuff like that, those are risks and everything.
Yeah, because they've had, for the people in the chat, shout out to there were 6 people, now we're down to 4. But they've had new IPs, because Sunset Overdrive, that was
Sunset
new.
Overdrive, Quantum Break, Rise, whatever, and stuff like that and everything. So it's not like they're not bringing new IPs and stuff like that. It's just that it's just that people got to go out and buy this stuff, and basically that's it. It's a gamble. Anytime you sink that much money into building something brand new, and you have no idea whether it's going to sell or not or anything like that, if you come out with something that like Uncharted or Tomb Raider or God of War, those games have been established already. Those games have roots. Anytime you come up with a new IP, you planting a brand new seed, and you just and you hoping that motherfucker grow.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. It's now I'm trying to find Grim on Google Plus. Because he's apparently not getting these invites, and I'm just inviting what's here on the thing. But keep talking. All right, so let me ask somebody else. No, go ahead. No, somebody just asked me at work, so I can't invite him. Guardia Legend says, while Nintendo and Sony are moving forward in the console market with handhelds, exclusives, and VR, Xbox is at a standstill with nothing more than Microsoft name and multi-plat machine. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, Legends, the Scorpion is going to be VR ready. They just don't have a standalone VR.
Yeah, they don't
device.
have. They don't have a proprietary VR device and stuff like that. Something that that's Microsoft made, that only works on a Microsoft console or anything else like that. They Scorpios, like you said, is going to be VR capable. At very least Oculus.
Yeah, they're using Oculus, which costs $500. This is just for anybody who wants to go out and get it. I'm hoping if you buy Scorpion, they'll drop $100 off of it. Because you could go to them and say, "Look, I bought the Scorpion. Here's my receipt." Something they could do some kind of bundle to give you maybe $150 off. But I am currently trying to find King Grimpachi.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't see how Xbox is at a standstill. I mean, Sony's showing you their game lineup for the next, at least, some of their major games, for like at least the next, like I said, like 2 to 3 years or something like that. They've put out new hardware a couple months ago, last year with the Pro. Nintendo, they've shown you Zelda, Breath of the Wild and stuff like that. And, they've coming out, and they're coming out with their new hardware I think is it this year or something like that, whatever, to come out with the Switch, their new hardware.
Yeah,
Microsoft,
yeah, we could.
Microsoft, they've shown you, some of their new up and coming IPs. They're coming out with they're coming out with their brand new hardware this year. So how are they at a standstill or at a disadvantage from any of the other, the other two? Everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah, I don't disagree. They're at a standstill. Do you mean like they're at a? Let me ask you, the guy that wrote that. Do you feel that they're at a standstill, and as far as the IP? I mean, they've released IP. They just don't have a big enough group of people buying, buying their IP. That's different than not having the IP. But look, I'm telling you right now, this sucks. I mean, they I'm hurt. I mean, I said it yesterday. I said it this morning when I got up, when I thought people were just joking, and I said it when One Stop did a video today, and I'm saying it now for everybody. This really does hurt me personally, because one of the reasons I bought this console was for Scalebound.
Yeah, I mean,
it looked cool, and
I'm
other stuff too. Elite Dangerous, Cuphead looked cool. So it's disappointing. I mean, I know for me, so I'm disappointed. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed as well, because it was one of the games that I was looking forward to, and everything else like that. Because hell, nigga, I like dragon shit.
Yeah. Well, what's better? I mean, they brought Skyrim back, and all right, if you're still listening, I just put it in your RIP Scalebound video. He had a video called RIP Scalebound. So you put that up about I guess about an hour ago. So I just put it in your window. Copy paste thing. That's for Grim. So a whole bunch of people, don't be hitting that and then coming in. He's trying to come in, please.
There you go.
Yeah, but yeah. So all right. So we're looking at 2 new IPs right now that we know about, possibly before E3. And I mean, Halo Wars 2, which is going to be on PC, I believe, and Sea of Thieves, which I'm not for sure what that's about. I don't know if I want to be a pirate.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a MMO. It's a MMO,
right?
Stuff like that. So everything, but hey, you can't really, you can't say they don't have no type of diversity, stuff like that. They just gave you a massive, a MMO console pirate game or something like that. How many of those are out there?
Yeah. Well, do you think they can? I just don't think they have enough people, enough hardware out on market. Oh, there's King. All right, he got back in here. Self out. I'm sorry that took so long.
Yeah, no problem. I don't know what was happening. I wasn't getting none of them.
Okay. Yeah, I did it the old school way. I just sent it to that. But yeah, again, we're talking about, I've named this Scalebound canceled Xbox One on life support. Widow we were just talking about Microsoft's got new IPs, but it just doesn't seem like they're being supported. I heard another Xbox podcast yesterday literally saying that even Gears of War, I guess it was Gears of War 4, underperformed what Microsoft thought it was going to get. That doesn't mean it flopped. It just means whatever the numbers were that they thought they were going to get didn't make it. So how big a blow, this is for you, Grim, how big a blow, if you think it is, to the Microsoft brand? Because now it takes away from their diversity. And I don't mean personally, I'll say this again, I'm disappointed that they canceled the IP. I'd rather have you say it won't come out for 2 years than cancel the IP.
I mean, with Scalebound, I don't think that hurts their brand really, because that type of game, just like a Record, was for a certain audience that they don't really have. I'm getting like an echo or something, but it's like for an audience they don't have that they're trying to build up. And at this point, I think Microsoft is kind of understanding that maybe that they're just not that box. They can't really get the Japanese type of audience. I mean, they can get those games on their system, and some people will buy them and play them. But even when the 360 was really high and it was one of the most popular machines, even then the Japanese games really didn't sell too well. Even when they had the numbers for them to sell well, those people just don't want to play those games. And I don't really think I think they really canceled the game because honestly, we've known about the game for a long time now. It's about 3 years, I think, and it still looked rough. It looked early last time we saw it. And I think that Microsoft is at the point where they're just like, hey, we need to release this thing. Is it ready? And it probably wasn't ready. Probably wasn't nowhere near ready. And they're just tired of putting money into something that they think, well, shit, we're not even going to probably make that much money off of it anyway because a lot of people ain't going to buy it. Some people might like the game. We might get some. If it's a quality game, they'll get some awards off of it or some recognition. But as in money, it probably won't get that much because most people wouldn't probably buy the damn thing. So they probably just figure, hey, we cut our losses, and I don't know if they own the IP. They could do it later, I guess.
They own the IP.
So I mean, me personally, like I was looking to get the game. So it does suck that it's not coming out. But like for Microsoft as a brand, as a total, Microsoft really isn't known for those type of games. So them like not having that game or they're not coming or whatever, I don't really think it matters to the majority of the Xbox fans. They probably weren't going to buy Scalebound anyway.
Well, I mean, I was.
Yeah, I was.
I mean, but you would be like the minority in the situation. Like, let's say like Recore. A lot of people didn't buy Recore.
I did.
So I still haven't bought Recore. I mean, I might eventually. It seemed I played the demo. It seemed fun, but that game does seem like rough around the edges and it seemed like it's something ain't finished or something like that. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, see the same. What's called it in the chat? He was saying, let me give him a shout out. So shout out to everybody that's here. I've doubled my viewership of 4 people watching now. Throwback Gaming says that Platinum was losing its touch with Legend of Korra, I guess Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers. But you got to understand that they also made Nier Automata, and that game kicks ass. That's
another thing too. Like, how many they working on so many games?
Exactly.
And I throw this out here. This is really a theory I have. They're working on so many games. Their relationship with Microsoft, it's like I wouldn't say it's bad because I don't know if it's bad. I'm just gonna say it's a new relationship. Right. So there, when you have a new relationship with somebody, you might as well say it's a blank slate. It's not good or bad, just in the middle. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all these other people that they doing work with, they worked with before, for the most part, most of them. So they probably have more of an obligation to work on these games that they have been working on. And then those games, Scalebound is supposed to be their biggest game. Also, was their studio increase when they worked on this bigger game, or is it still small? It's probably stressful to work on this big game that's ambitious for them. So they figure, hey, let's work on the smaller games we know how to do. Now, there's a lot of things to take into consideration why the game still hasn't came out. Because like I said, I really can't see why Microsoft, the game was ready. I don't see why they would cancel it.
Exactly.
Well,
that's the same thing I was saying.
Yeah, the guy who I guess is head of that company, Platinum, he got pissed at Microsoft because they showed that game like when he wasn't even there. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, like, I don't know who Microsoft is screwing with. He said something like that. And I think I do agree with you, Grim. I think there was something that happened at that point to that relationship. It was new. Like you said, it's new. And I think he may have felt disrespected. But granted, Microsoft, they own that IP. You got to show them something.
Yeah, Microsoft probably wanted to show it off.
Yeah.
What they had ready they didn't want to show off because they felt probably, hey man, this don't look too good and this don't look good for us to show this off right now. Because I remember the E3 they showed it off not too long ago. I mean, for me, it just showed me the concept and what you'll be doing, but it did look pretty early. It looked like an alpha, if anything. And maybe for him, as a content creator, he was like, all right, I don't want to show this yet because it's not even close to being presentable. But Microsoft probably was like, damn, we talked about Scalebound. We got to show this damn thing off. We ain't got nothing else to fucking show. I guess we'll just show this B-roll of this early footage, right? So that's probably, that could have been like where the relationship got jacked up a little bit. But, I mean, all that, again, goes back to the business. I just feel like I do feel it's weird that everybody just like, it's Microsoft's fault. I can't say it's Microsoft's fault, Platinum's fault. I just say it's a good combination of the two. And I mean, if anything, I would want the game to come out in some form or fashion, but if it doesn't, it won't be the end of the world.
Yeah, and to add on to what Graham was saying, is I think Microsoft wanted this game to come out. I think they wanted a game like this for their portfolio. I think they wanted this game to come out. I don't think they just wanted to cancel it. And it's like Graham said, it's not like everything was going smooth and Microsoft was just like, hey, you know what? Let's just nick Scalebound just for whatever fucking reason. And everything like that. It was some underlying issues and there was some stuff going on behind the scenes with them and Platinum and everything else like that. And it all accumulated, and Scalebound getting canceled was the result of that.
Yeah, somebody in the chat, Garda Legend, said that he thinks his theory is that he says, I think the graphics and frame rates was way beyond the devs' control. It's not that easy to rebuild a game. Microsoft was not happy with 4K 30 frames. That's probably why they fired him. Well, let me tell you this right now. I played Tomb Raider on the Pro in 4K 30, and it was phenomenal. I put it ahead of Uncharted 4 slightly. I mean slightly because it looks stunning. You could see the acne growing on Laura Croft's face in that 4K. and that's their checkerboard 4K. So I can't imagine what that was going to look like in a native picture. I don't know how it's going to look any better, but if they're upset at 4K 30, then they just got problems. Because
I don't think it had anything to do with 4K.
Me too.
I think this the game in general was not ready. Because to be fair, they to be honest, man, they kind of just released a game that's not really for their honest. To be fair, I may pick it up and honestly just looking at it, I'm like, yo, it don't look like it's a finished product, and that's Recore. Recore could be fun. I played the demo. It was fun when I played, but the reason I haven't bought it yet, and it's at $20, is because I've seen reviews and I've seen people talk about it, and I just watch people play it, and it does look like at a certain point they did the Final Fantasy 15 where they were like, damn, we got to get this motherfucker out of here. Just throw some shit together and push it, that type of shit. And I don't think Microsoft really likes that, which I can't blame them, because I'll say this, right? Games like Gears 4, like Halo 5 was weird. Halo 5, I actually like the gameplay changes in Halo 5, but Halo 5, it looked worse. It didn't look worse. It's the resolution. The resolution is so low on Halo 5, it makes it look worse than Halo 4 and the 360. It looks blurry as I don't know what, but besides Halo 5, most of the games I played that Microsoft made or heavily tied to Microsoft, like Gears 4, Forza and all that, those games look and feel very polished and finished products. And that's something that Microsoft, has been doing for a good minute now. Recore, honestly, is not something I would say is like, if someone said, man, I play Recore and Recore feels unfinished, this is like some type of shit Microsoft does all the time. I'm like, no, this is like kind of like an odd thing for them, and I don't think they want to keep doing stuff like that, especially with products where they're like, man, we probably ain't gonna make no money off this shit. So I mean, it's a big like Microsoft has just never been that brand. They never been the brand with the a lot of the Japanese stuff, and that was due to mostly Sony and their policies at the time. But it's not the biggest of deals to me. I mean, I want to, I don't. If I want to play games, if I want to play certain games, I buy on whatever machine they're on. I'm not gonna sit here like I'm not buying the Xbox because they ain't got no Japanese games. If I want Japanese games, I go to the machine that got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would love for them to be here, but to be fair, I mean, if it's gonna be the same Japanese game I can get on something else already, then it really wouldn't matter too much. You know what I'm trying to say? If I already get it on something I already own, then it wouldn't be. It'd still be nice. I have options to buy it on which machine, but it still wouldn't matter really.
Yeah. And you got to think too, man, that Microsoft is like what? The only Western game console developer, everything else has been, almost pretty much Japanese. I mean, we've been conditioned growing up playing Japanese games.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I mean, pretty much back in the day, if you had a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 or something like that, before there was any Xboxes or anything else like that, it was all Japanese stuff. You grew up playing Japanese games. That's what you've, been accustomed to. That's what that's the as far
as the console. Well, there was a lot of the US games were on PC. Like one of EA's first games is Yeah, I'm dating myself here. It's Dr. J and Larry Bird go one-on-one. That's an EA game, and that was when EA only had like 15 people working for them. Literally 15 people working for them. And then you had a lot of games. You had like Sierra Games, and I think they made King's Quest and Police Quest and Heroes Quest. So they made all those type of games. And then all the jet simulators came out. But that was all PC based, you're right, as far as consoles. That's why I think that the people who like playing games online with a console are selling themselves short, because the PC stuff online is much better. I don't know why you want to come home and play Halo online when you can play a game like Star Citizen or Elite Dangerous online with friends. I mean, you can play online with friends too, so, but yeah, I agree. I played Halo, Grim. The cutscenes with Luke Cage, that was cool, but yeah, overall the resolution was just kind of like
the in-game resolution is really low, and if you play Halo 4, Halo 5 Forward on the PC, where you could bump the resolution to wherever you want, you could tell that like the graphics look way better. Like I don't even know if that's a native. I don't know what the fuck that resolution is. It's just bad. That's all I could tell. And I can't say, well, it's 720p. It looks bad, because there's games at 720p that look fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. It's like just this blurry pastiness about the entire. I don't know what that was, but it didn't look too hot for Halo 5. That's something that I think they should do a patch, but they probably don't even think it's something wrong with it. I definitely think something wrong. It don't look good to me. But.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the announcement with BioWare, with them saying that Xbox One is going to get a 900p version of Mass Effect when Mass Effect was born on that console?
I heard you talk about that, and I was listening to you, and I'm like, I don't really see that having to do with like the Xbox One begin the 900p version, whereas the PS4 begin the 1080p version for the longest of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now at this point, it could be one of two things. One, I'm like, people ignore this, but when there is this stigma that one machine is weaker than the other, developers just automatically start getting late. Because I remember they were saying Diablo couldn't be 1080p on the Xbox.
Yep.
And then Microsoft had to go send their own people to
show them over there
to make their own game. So I can't say that the game just can't run at 1080p on the Xbox. I don't know, but let's just say that's the case. It can't run at 1080p. Well, that's fine, because you know what? 900p to 1080p. I played plenty of games. Like, what is it? I think I could be mistaken. Isn't Titanfall 2 900p on the Xbox One, 1080p on the PS4? I have played.
I think so.
I played on both machines. I noticed.
Right.
I noticed no difference. I don't like 720p, 1080p. Yeah, I can recognize some 900p to 1080p. I would have to really sit here and really like. I don't know. I would have to almost talk myself into seeing some shit. Maybe. Yeah. I'm just being honest. I don't really notice the difference between those two, really, pretty much at all.
Well, again, at night, like scenes at nighttime on Mass Effect, you won't really see a ton of difference. Where you're going to see it is in the screen tearing on the daytime scenes. It's like with Witcher 3. When I had my Xbox One S, I went out and I repurchased Witcher 3. I didn't get the DLC. I just got Witcher 3. And at nighttime, when you're walking around or riding your horse around in Witcher, I don't know if anybody's not played that. I looked identical. I mean, his clothes looked a little bit richer, had a deeper, richer color on the PlayStation. But all right, that was tolerable. But when the screen tearing started and it was palpable, I'm like, all right. This is where 900p. I agree. To me, 900p is okay. But my point is that throw that out the window. Mass Effect started on the Xbox One. Why are they getting the duty end of the stick? I mean, of the game. Why can't their game be the ultimate version? Because if you're a Mass Effect junkie like I am, you want the superior version of the game. I don't care. Leave the Pro out of it, because the Pro is going to be 1800p, which is going to blow away everything except a PC. But that to me is a Mass Effect fan. Let me just, as a fan, is disappointing. It's got nothing. It just, I don't like that. I remember playing Mass Effect to the point where I bought all the DLC, all the microtransactions. I got all of it. I probably spent $250 on that game with all 3 games and then all the DLC. So that, as a Mass Effect fan, I'm disappointed with that at Microsoft. So, but that's
but is it really Microsoft's fault with the 900p thing?
Oh, I don't know. I'm
exactly.
just disappointed that game started. And like I said earlier on the podcast, imagine Widowmaker making an engine for a car, and then I just go over to his house and just snatch it out of there and say, well, you know what, I can do it a little bit better. And not only that, if it was 900p, Grim, but Microsoft still had the marketing rights, fine. I can live with that. But if you go and pick up a Pro, just pick up the Pro box and turn it over, one of the 3 games you see on there is Mass Effect. And it's just, it's disappointing. It's just disappointing. I'm here a little. If you can see my hands around the microphone.
Look, I can't. That just sounds like, the fandom of the game.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I'm just thinking, like, I don't even see why any of that matters. Because to be fair, you can say, well, Mass Effect one Mass Effect on PC the whole time, all of them, like all the time, like that's another thing that's funny too. A lot of people, they talk about Xbox games and they sit here and act like Xbox, like especially this generation, they say Microsoft's giving all their games away to PC. They've been doing that since the first Xbox. Yeah, almost all of their games. Really, to be fair, a lot of their games that people were saying was exclusive, like Jade Empire, those games were PC games, like Far Cry, those were PC games that came to the Xbox. But, console people like to claim stuff that's really for everybody. It's weird. So they start thinking it's exclusive. That's why, like, when people say, well, Xbox has no exclusive, I'm like, they're giving all their games to PC. I'm like, but this is something they've been doing forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have a stake kind of in PC, a little bit. They have, I think the Xbox division is in charge for making games for the Windows 10 stuff and for the console stuff. So the same people are putting out the games for both of the things. Microsoft is, they putting games on, they've re-gotten into gaming in the PC market a little bit, and I don't know a whole lot of this because I didn't play on PC and stuff like that. But from the little info that I've gathered and everything like that, I guess Microsoft, they used to do some stuff with PC and then they fell off for a long time. And I guess, they're kind of getting back into it and everything. And they're, they just merged it with what they're doing with Xbox. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me and everything like that. But that's what I've gathered from it.
I mean, they've always been the PC, doing the PC thing with gaming.
And console was the stepchild because that's something that they never broke out into, And
really, when they brought the Xbox
exactly
to the space, they wanted to make it like a computer was in your home. That's why I did all that other shit that most consoles didn't do. They wanted it to be like essentially the Xbox was what you would say a Steam machine would have been. It was no different in the concept of what they wanted to do with it. So I that's why when people like, with the exclusive things this generation, I don't get it because it's almost like you weren't paying attention to the last generation before. Pretty much every generation there was an Xbox. Halo 1 was on PC. Halo 2 came to PC. Jade Empire was already on. Fable was on PC. They all was on shared between the two machines. No one cared either because back then console people played on consoles and PC people played on PC.
Exactly.
And console people really just generally did not care if a game went somewhere else. They didn't care whatsoever.
Well, you know what? They didn't care if it was on PC because they consider PC like a completely different, island. As long as it didn't go to Sony, as long as it didn't cross that bridge, to till the people they consider the enemy, as long as it didn't go to Sony, Nintendo, or whoever else had a console, they was fine. And stuff like that. And that's, that kind of still carries over a little bit to how it is today and everything like that, somewhat, but now PC is a more, people are more open to PC and stuff like that and everything. So, if a game goes to PC, PC is now thrown into the console. You can't talk about consoles almost without somebody mentioning PC.
I feel that to be fair too, because I mean, to be honest, like when we're having a discussion about different things, like I always found it strange when people would say, well, this game is only on this machine, but it's not. It's just like when people say Final Fantasy VII was only on PlayStation 1, it wasn't. Or what's a Symphony of the Night was only on PlayStation when it was, like stuff like, but see, that's just people they just know. They know the information, Now, whether people care about the information or not is different, but that is something. That is something to bring up. Like, when people say, "Well, like you said, Mass Effect was an Xbox thing, right?" You probably coming from a console space, but easily someone could say, "Well, Mass Effect was a PC thing. It was on PC."
No, it wasn't. Right? It didn't start, but it didn't start on PC. It started on the Xbox 360. I was at that E3 when it was shown because I didn't have an Xbox 360. I said, "Oh, I got to get this." And then they talked about what revolutionized that game. Let me tell you, is that it lets you save your character and all your save, your whole game into Mass Effect 2. So all the decisions you made in Mass Effect 1 affected Mass Effect 2. So somebody that died in Mass Effect 1, they weren't going to just pop up in Mass Effect 2. They were gone.
No, what I'm saying is, if I remember correctly, because I remember when Mass Effect 1 came out, at the time, somebody was around, they were really playing the game a lot. But Mass Effect 1, I don't know if it came out day and date, but I'm pretty sure Mass Effect 1 was on the PC before Mass Effect 2 was on PC. Or Mass Effect 2 came out at all. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, someone could easily say, well, you said it was an Xbox thing, with someone that doesn't care about the Xbox or consoles and play it on the PC, could say, well, this is a PC thing. Why is it, whatever on the PC version? The PC version is GIMP for some. I don't know. To me, I just find all that to be, I don't know. I can't share those feelings, even for things I really like. Like when I was growing up, I played like franchises that I really like when I was growing up, like the Tony Hawk games, stuff like that. But I played that on PlayStation. Now, when I found out it was on N64, I was just like, oh, that's cool, because now my cousins that don't have PlayStation, play the game I like. I want the same version, but it didn't matter. They can still play the gist of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It just that hurt my pride when that game. Not that the game went on the PlayStation, because Mass Effect 2 and 3 are on the PlayStation, on PlayStation 3. That's not a big deal, but you get the inferior version of the game. That makes me mad. Shout out to the 7 viewers. That's the most viewers I've ever had.
We don't know if it's gonna be inferior, because a lot of the time when a game may be a higher resolution on PlayStation, it's a better frame rate on Xbox.
It's locked at 30 on both. That's confirmed by BioWare.
That's what they say. A lot of games are supposedly locked and they be dipping all day long. You know what I'm saying? Well, they got frame tearing or not frame pacing issues. Honestly, I'm on a wait and see with any game, any developer. It don't matter. I don't even care if it was made by Microsoft or Sony themselves. I'm waiting to somebody like Digital Foundry. I don't even really care, but to know the truth, I would go to them, because they normally are on point with most stuff they talk about.
So Craig, what you're saying is you feel some type of way because the Mass Effect started on the Xbox, but they don't have the best version of the game, even though you feel that's where it started from. You feel like they should have the best version of it.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, you invent something and it goes on to make umpteen billions of dollars, and then and then all of a sudden somebody else has the same thing. It goes to somebody else, it's an intellectual property, and then they get a better version of it. I mean, I agree. I don't. According to BioWare, it's locked at 30, and it's disappointing as a fan because here's one reason why I wanted the Xbox, because this is where that game started. I'm like, well, surely this game, not that it will run better, but it would be parity. It'd be whatever. 900 on.
Well, correct. I ask you this. I ask you this. Are the games identical on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4? I mean, and by that I mean, you're going to get the same same version of the game.
I mean,
no, I don't. No, I ain't talking about resolution. I ain't talking about frame rate. I'm talking about you're going to get. Is there going to be an extra level in the PlayStation 4 that's not in the Xbox One? Is there going to be more something on the PlayStation 4?
If there's a marketing deal, I know because Battlefield 1 had a marketing deal with Microsoft. They got, if you bought it for Microsoft, you got a little more stuff. I don't know what. I don't know if you got any more levels, but I do know that at the beginning, I don't know if you had more missions unlocked. You had more than what they had based on marketing. But if you're saying overall, is it going to change? You're going to start at point A and got to get to point Z. No, that's the same.
Okay,
it's going to be the same. The physical game will be the same.
So the game isn't. PlayStation doesn't have a superior version of the game. It's just their machine can run the game a little better than the Xbox One.
That's a great way to put it, because that would be like saying, like, on PC, because your PC is better than me, you got the superior version of the game. No, we got the same game. Your machine is better than mine.
Yeah, exactly. We got the same game. You ain't got nothing else in this game that I don't have. I'm gonna see the same bosses you go see. It's gonna have the same dialogue that you have on there. It's gonna have the same music, same everything. It's just that your machine can run that game a little differently than my machine can.
Well, yeah, but I'm looking at it like that. But that machine. The Xbox should just have the better version of this game, or at least a version.
I'm gonna be honest, Craig, because I'm just gonna tell you how I'm taking what you're saying. We all understand from this point, like, since the generation started, that the Xbox One compared to the PS4 is not as powerful, or that's just what we've been told, right? I don't really know. I don't develop for the damn thing, but as long as we've known, normally the PS4 has the higher resolution version than the Xbox. But now frame rate, that kind of has a trade in battle, but resolution wise, it's always placed as a higher resolution. So let's just say, right, the game comes out and it is 900p on both. You know what people say? Well, wait a minute, why can't it be 1080p on PS4? Is it being dropped down? Like, would you want it to be like back on the PlayStation just so the Xbox version could be equal or better? Or
well, if I'm BioWare, what I say to the Sony folk is that, look, could we have gotten it to 1080p? Possibly. But this series started with Microsoft, and here's a parody version. It's kind of like they did with Assassin's Creed. With Ubisoft, was like, look, we ain't even getting into this bullshit. We're going to make it whatever the same. Whatever they made it, 900p. And it was still a beautiful game. And it was just the same. I would just think they would have at least gotten BioWare, because BioWare went to Microsoft for Mass Effect. It wasn't vice versa. Microsoft already had Halo out, so they already had a space game out. So it was Casey Hudson and company from BioWare that went to Microsoft. I understand Microsoft could have pulled their shit and said, look, okay, we want both versions. We know we're going to make it a multiplayer. Just make our version the same, or give us the marketing rights or something. I mean, because the last generation, Grim, on the 360, Mass Effect was marketed by Microsoft. It just seemed natural to stay on that side of the fence, if you want to put it like that.
But stuff flips all the time, because that logic, that means Call of Duty should still be getting the DLC first on Xbox. I think Battlefield was on the Battlefield got early stuff on PlayStation compared to Xbox. Pretty much every man, that would mean every game multiplayer for the most part would still be getting early stuff on Xbox. PlayStation would still be getting the shorthand, the stick when it comes to that aspect. I mean, but and then people be sitting here saying, well, why is that the case when the PlayStation is the quote unquote better machine? That wouldn't even make sense. You know, I don't know. Like I feel they shouldn't be like. I agree with Phil Spencer when he said paying for certain things like that isn't growth. And that I don't see the point in that. And
Well,
really,
this company's the one that started all that.
No, it wasn't. Sony's been doing that before they even came in the console space.
Extra content, keeping it away from people.
Sony's made a contract with Rockstar. GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas weren't supposed to go to other machines. They found a loophole to put it on other machines. That was exclusive. Those were legally exclusive. The only way they got it, the reason they got to put it on other machines is because there was a loophole. Basically, if they changed enough of the game, they could port it over and say it's technically a different game. That's why the Xbox version had like better textures and shit. The PlayStation version, it wasn't that big of a difference. It was just better textures. Like you can play your own tracks, stuff like that, which allowed them to legally say, well, it's different, so we can sell it because it's not the same game. But that game,
I can tell you, Vice City on the Xbox, the OG Xbox, I remember that because I thought the PlayStation version, when you were on one island, you couldn't even see downtown. I thought it was fog. But when it went to I did. I thought maybe like a storm, it rolled through the city and it was fog. But on the Xbox version, you could see the entire city from no matter where you were.
All I'm saying is that the practice that you're speaking of, Sony was doing those practices back then. If it wasn't for Rockstar finding a loophole, you would have never had that version to see a non-foggy version of that game. It wouldn't have been a PC version.
And that was before Xbox.
But on the same note, Grim, Microsoft
before Xbox was even a thought. That was,
All right, but in the same thought though, Grim, Grand Theft Auto 4, Lost and Damned, and Ballad of Gay Tony, that came to Microsoft first. I had an Xbox.
You want me? I can explain that too. That game was going to be PlayStation 3 exclusive.
Break it down, Grim.
Microsoft paid millions of dollars for it to be multi-plat, not exclusive for them, multi-plat. Microsoft,
but they got it first. How did they get it first?
They got the DLC first. They had the DLC. The DLC situation, I don't know. I'm talking about GTA 4 as a game itself. Now the DLC. Honestly, didn't they get that first because didn't Microsoft really actually have the infrastructure for that built, and Sony didn't even have that ready to go yet? Well, I think that was so. At that time, I don't even think the PlayStation Store was really up and going like that to even do DLC well. That was when like the PlayStation Store was like you had to go to the web browser at that time. Like that was early DLC. Yeah, so
it was hard to do. But my point is that they've both done it. So Phil Spencer coming out saying that's not growth is like, well, how about you guys for doing stuff like that?
No, I'm saying
maybe not you personally.
I think people are missing the point because they're thinking about things from like more of a negative standpoint. I agree with him saying it's not growth, right? But he's not being I'm not saying, I don't think he's like, people are just saying, like, I've heard people say, well, he's being a hypocrite because he did it. And they think Microsoft did it first. Listen, if you come into a game and you trying to play by the rules that's set, but look, when they come into the console space, these rules are paying for shit and getting to lockdown that they didn't make was already going on before they got here. They just playing the game how they saw the rules. That's not their fault that they come in and Sony was doing it. Really, Nintendo really wasn't paying for exclusive as much as they were just saying, hey, they were hot shit. If you didn't put their stuff on their machine, you couldn't even sell your stuff. They weren't even paying you. They were just like saying, fuck you. You can't pay. You can't even play. You can't even put the shit out. Like, that was
and people are taking what Phil Spencer was talking about and applying it to different situations that he didn't mention. I think he was just talking about DLC and stuff like that. People take what he's saying and they go about, well, they paid to keep this game. And like, hold on. He wasn't talking about exclusives, paying to keep exclusive, nothing. He was just talking about DLC, keeping, like if me and Grim both got the same game and I go to Craig and be like, hey, Craig, I'll give you $20 if you let me get, this extra portion of the game, but you don't give it to Grim. On a game that's on a game that's already out. On something that we both own and shit like that, I can't get any more content on it. And, well, Grim can't get any more content on it, but I can because I paid you, the maker of the game and stuff like that, to keep it from him. And, and Phil saying, hey, those kind of practices, those aren't growth and shit like that, especially for something that everybody already has.
Well, yeah, but that's my point. They both done it. I mean, if he wants to come out and say that it should have never been done, okay. But you're right. He didn't start everything. The other guys that had him got fired, and some of them moved on. But Don Maxwell got fired. And what does that noise? Sounds like somebody's getting an ass whooping.
No, that's my little man. I think.
Oh no, that's cool. I mean, that's cool. I didn't know what it was. But that's cool. But yeah, I mean, all right, Graham, I understand what you're saying. I just do not. I personally, as a fan, I'm a fan of the game Mass Effect, and I felt that Microsoft should have done something to at least get the marketing. 900p, 1080p. My TV outputs at 1080p, the other one outputs at 2160p. So I was going to go with whoever had the better version. And I got the Pro, so the Pro is getting the 2160p or whatever it's called, 1800p build up, checkerboard upscale. That's what I'm going to be playing it on anyway. It's just disappointing that the people on the Xbox are not going to be able to see this game, and it's going to be magnificent in all its glory. That's disappointing as a fan. I feel bad for those people, but I'll be playing it in its glory, I guess. But I don't have a PC, so I don't get to see it in its exalted glory, but glory nonetheless.
Well, I'll ask you this. Right now, the Pro is if the game's coming out in March or whatever, March, February, whatever, something like that. Right now, the Pro is going to have the higher resolution. It's going to have the better looking version of the game and stuff like that. Now, if Scorpio comes out and you get that, and they have a better version than what the Pro has, would you rebuy the game for the Scorpion?
Well, I tell you what, I was considering that, but when Aaron Flynn of BioWare said that they don't even have a dev kit for the Scorpion to even look at the game like that, right now that I can't. It would be tough to answer that question. I just don't know what else they can do.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, yeah. I was going to go, being a fan, I was going to go play this game this is one of those things. I was going to get to this here in a minute here on exclusive selling games. Me as a fan, I'm going to go to where this game is going to be played at the optimum level. And I don't have a gaming PC, so I can't game on it there. So my next step, I thought, was going to be the Xbox. But it was like Ronda Rousey getting hit in the face. So
you as a fan of the game, you would want to play the game at whatever the best version you feel you can play it at.
Yeah, and guess what? If you go to the Mass Effect channels, the people who are fans of the game, that community, they're pissed because we all started playing it on the 360. Yes, some of us did start playing on the PlayStation 3, but for the most part, the community, and I say about 80 to 85%, we started playing it on the Xbox. Like I said, I'm a big fan of it, and it's disappointing. It's going to come out. The game's coming out. It's disappointing that where we kind of grew up and met each other in the BioWare forums, we're not going to be able. It's disappointing. And as a fan of the game, it's disappointing. It's no different than going to Kings Island and finding out that the Beast is shut down. Okay, you're still at Kings Island. You can still ride rides, but you can't go ride the Beast.
I look at this scenario like this, right? Let's say McDonald's closed down, right? And McDonald's don't exist no more. McDonald's don't exist no more, right? But Wendy's buys up. I guess they own McDonald's now, right? So now Wendy's got the Big Mac, and the Big Mac is the same Big Mac. It's no different, but it's at Wendy's. A lot of people say, well, because this is not the Golden Arches, I don't want to eat this Big Mac. Like, that's, to me, I'm
same
like,
burger, same shit.
I'm like, this is the same. I wouldn't give a
same burger.
I don't care about none of that.
But you just don't want to.
If I really care, you know what I do? I sit there, I unwrap that Wendy's wrapper, and I use my imagination and just pretend it's a McDonald's wrapper.
I grab me a yellow crayon, draw me an upside down W on that motherfucker. And...
All right, well, the folks listening, obviously Grim and Widowmaker did not sacrifice millions of lives to stop the in Mass Effect.
honestly, because I played Mass Effect 2. I love Mass Effect 2. And when I beat Mass Effect 2, I bought 3. And I just stopped playing 3 because honestly, I really just wanted to. What I did, I played it and I saw what happened to all the characters that did survive. And after that, I was actually just kind of cool. I was satisfied with that, right? Yeah. So I never finished 3, and I never even really played 1. But what I'm going to do is play them all in order again. And I'm probably going. I bought Mass Effect 1 on Xbox 360 a long time ago, and I could play it off the 1. But I just when I was playing it at that time, I'm like, yo, going from 2 to 1, like going backwards. Those controls was like, whoa, I don't know about this. So I want to play it. But I think a lot of people say it was a really good game. So what I'll do is I'll tough through it. Now if it's too bad, I just won't be able to do it. But I'll tough through the control. They said once you level up your shooting and learn the controls, it gets better. But
well, you're right about the engine. That's why the Mass Effect 2 you were playing kind of a stripped down version of the Unreal Engine, whereas in Mass Effect 1, BioWare actually physically built that engine. That was when they went to EA said, oh, we can give you the Unreal Engine. And BioWare smiled, but then EA wanted the microtransactions, and then BioWare frowned. So it was kind of like, that's why a lot of them left BioWare. Casey Hudson and a lot of those guys. Casey Hudson actually works at Microsoft now. But Casey Hudson, the guy that helped, the backbone developer of Mass Effect, yeah, that's one of the reasons he left. But you're right, the shooting mechanics, in Mass Effect 1, totally different than Mass Effect 2. You're right. It's going backwards is tough. But yeah, no, I'm glad more people are going to enjoy it. I wanted it. I wanted to be able to enjoy the continuity from Xbox 360.
I feel you. I think it's more of a nostalgia.
Hey, this is what you can do, man. You got the Xbox One, right? You got the Xbox One. This is what you can do, man. Look, this will make you feel 10 times better. What you do is you take the HDMI plug, you plug the PS4 in the you're playing it on the Xbox. There you go.
Oh man.
Microsoft got a solution for everything, man. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it was disappointing. Yeah, you could play on reverse compatible, but actually, when I got Ronda Rousey today with Scalebound, somebody tweeted me here in town, and I sold my Xbox One S. I'm going to get an Xbox 360. I'm still going to support them, but if one of their main selling points, which is fine, is backwards compatibility, which again is fine. I'm just going to get a 360 and play. I love playing on my 360. It was hard to get rid of it when I traded it in, but that's fine. I can go ahead and kind of get my same setup and go ahead and go from there. But it's Scalebound being canceled. Like I said, now I know what Ronda Rousey felt like. I actually tweeted that to somebody today. Like, man, that was a tough pill to swallow. That was no applesauce, no juice, no sugar.
I mean, you know what though? And somebody else said this and brought it to light and everything. And I can't remember who it was, but when Scalebound was announced and it was shown, the majority of people was like, it sucked. Fuck that game. It don't care. It don't know. But now that it's dead and gone, it's like, oh my God, people jumping out the woodworks. Oh, where was Scalebound? Oh man, I was really looking forward to this game. Where were you?
I'm surprised. A lot of people, man, I was gonna get a Scorpio for them. Like, first of all, I'm thinking of myself.
Right, we're like,
I'm thinking of myself.
Where were you?
Most Japanese type games, they don't push visuals, and the Scorpio just seems like a visual console. Like you buy it because hey, I want better looking games. Well, I mean that game could probably have a better frame rate and maybe better resolution, but as in textures, I think that was it. Whatever they were gonna do, that was pretty much gonna be it. And that was going to be the end of the day. So I don't know why you were buying that. That's like me saying I'm going to buy the Pro for Persona 5. I mean, Persona 5 is going to look like Persona 5 no matter what I get on. It's probably going to look a better resolution. But as in textures and shit, that's probably going to be set, like for the most part.
I don't. Yeah, the games that the game that I suggest to everybody, if you have a Pro, get Tomb Raider. And this is if you have a UHD TV, play it in the 4K 30. That's phenomenal. If you have a 1080p TV, they have an enhanced version on there. That's really good too. And then they have the old school 1080p, or the one that everybody can go out and buy. They have that on there, but they have an open frame rate. They have an open frame rate on one of them. It goes from like it's not stable at 60 at all. Let me tell everybody, you're gonna get some dips, but it stays above 55. That's according to Digital Foundry. But yeah, I would just wait on that other one that's coming out here. Shit fire. Now I forgot the name of it. I'm so discombobulated. What the hell is Horizon Zero Dawn, because that's going to output naturally at 1800p and in this upscale. So you can turn on the upscale with that Pro or not, because you go into the settings, it pretty much lets you do that. But outputting at 18, that's what the Pro was supposed to do anyway. It was just supposed to give you games at 1440p upscale, 1800p, because you have a higher output at natural 1440. You're going to get a better picture. So, I mean, Mafia 3 is 1440p now. And it does look better than 1080p. It plays the same stuff, but it looks better when you're slaughtering your enemies. Like, you're going to put it like that. But anything else? Anybody want to add anything? I got on my soapbox. I'm mad about Mass Effect more than anything. I'm disappointed with Scalebound too. Because I really think in order for Microsoft to have a broader appeal with any device, you've got to have a diversity of games. But me and Widow were talking earlier in the podcast, Graham, and it seems like they do have a lot of diverse games. They just, for whatever reason, the Xbox community of gamers didn't support them to the levels that Microsoft thought. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean that's just their brand. That, like, honestly, like, even when these Xbox do Phantom Dust or whatever the shit that was, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is that? Like, I didn't even know what you had to be like, because there's games like I had it like back in that generation. I had a GameCube and a PS2, and I didn't have an Xbox, but I knew about a bunch of. I had one for like 5 minutes. I'll tell that story one day. There are games, if you have a machine, you will know about that. The general public won't know because you're just buying any and everything you can find for the damn thing. So the games like that, let's just be honest. In the grand scheme of most people, who the fuck was talking about a Phantom? That's why when everybody was saying, "Oh, they're making a new Phantom," they made a first one. Like, what is that? I didn't know what that was.
Right. I didn't know what the fuck Phantom Dust was.
Yeah, I honestly don't think most of these Xbox dudes know what Phantom Dust was, because a lot of them probably playing Halo at the time, when playing nothing else. So it's a lot of games you miss out on. Microsoft owns a lot of IPs that they can always go back to. Now the question is, are they going to make money? Now, I'll be honest with you, there are certain things Microsoft does that people complain about. I don't see the problem. Forza every year, have no issue with. I don't really care for Forza Motorsports. I like Forza. I don't like sim racers really. I may give Forza a shot, the normal Forza, because I'm gonna give Gran Turismo a shot. I didn't like sim racers when I was growing up, and I didn't ever get back into them. But I may like them now. I don't know. I haven't played one in so long, but I just know generally I don't like realistic racing games. I don't care if that comes out every year. Gears and Halo, I highly doubt that will come every year. You may get a different version of Halo every year. You may get a Halo Wars, and then like a couple of years a normal Halo. That's fine. I don't care. Would I want new games coming from Microsoft? Of course I want new games. I want them to make new IPs and stuff like that. But I mean, listen, like if they're not gonna, I would say make stuff they're comfortable making. Like, do I like Recore? Yes. I can't say that. Do I like the idea of Recore? Yes. But if their audience isn't going to buy Recore, can I really request them to make something that's not going to make them any money? No, that's not smart business. Like, I can't, like, it's just like, if Nintendo said they were going to make some stuff that I'm pretty sure most Nintendo gamers wouldn't buy, I mean, that'd be cool if I like it, but I mean, if they ever gets canceled, I will understand. Or if ever they stop making it, I will understand, because it ain't making them money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it like this. I think what Microsoft needs, and this would solve everything. It would stop the Sony people from getting on them about their games. It would change up the IP. It would give them a little bit of diversity with the IPs and stuff like that. And it would be probably a type of game that Xbox people would get is they need another mascot type character. I mean, something serious. I mean, nothing kiddie, no Banjo Kazooie, no Sunset Overdrive type cartoony jumping around. I mean, they need something a serious type game and stuff. And they need it to be that type of third person adventure type game because that's something that they don't have.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. I saw that recent footage. Well, it's not recent. It's old footage. They were gonna do like a Mega Bloks Halo game. Mm-hmm. Hey, look, I still enjoy the Lego games. They could drop that, and I'll play some of that. That'd be cool to play. see. The thing is you might be cool with that, Grim, but I guarantee you, ain't gonna buy it. But man, I guarantee you, that's like throwing a pork chop in a fucking vat full of sharks. That thing is gonna get ate up. Yeah, they ain't gonna. I mean, they could make a third like the Halo.
It's not gonna get it's not gonna get no respect though.
That would be tight. They could make a third person. Like they could honestly use the like I don't care if they keep using the same franchises. They could make a third person Halo. They could make they could make a first person Gears. That'd be crazy. That'd be stupid. But make a first person Gears. I mean, they could do anything they want to with their IPs and franchise. Like me, I like Sunset Overdrive. That's probably like one of the best exclusives for the Xbox. I would love for them to make a Sunset Overdrive too, and Insomniac actually said that they will want to. So I will hope E3 that gets announced or something. Crackdown's still coming.
The problem is with Xbox games is they may have a diverse game lineup or whatever stuff like that. They may have, but the games and they have new IPs. But when they show that stuff, it gets no respect from nobody. And everything. The
only thing it does, it makes people that are normally how I would say are Sony and Nintendo fans may say, all right, I'll drift over here for a minute to play this. Like I remember what was the game? Tale of Vesperia? I remember so many Sony people saying, man, why is this on PlayStation? Nobody on Xbox gonna buy it. I don't even think it did one on Xbox. But you know what that made? That made certain Sony people go buy an Xbox and play it. But that maybe I don't know if it was enough people to turn a profit. I have no idea. But that's the only thing I see those games doing. Really, like me, I'm into all types of games. So like I was actually going to buy Final Fantasy 15 on Xbox. The only reason I didn't because even Xbox fan was like, yo, this game looks bad. And like I said, I already done lived through Halo 5. Halo 5 looked bad. They said it looked blurry as I don't know what. And I don't look. I play my old consoles. I play my Super Nintendo, all that stuff. Blurriness is not. That's now you fucking with my vision. I don't care if your game don't look good because I play games that don't look good to me, but they ain't blurry. Blurriness I don't like. That's I don't know about that. But yeah, I mean they could definitely do something with Xbox because Xbox for the longest was known for having the best version of multiplats. This generation, unless the Scorpio changes it, is not going to. That's not the case anymore. They are still. I would still say they're the shooter box, but to be fair, the most people are always going to be on the popular machine. So I still play like COD on my Xbox. I play Titanfall 2 on my Xbox, but I'm pretty sure because it almost feels like it. Now COD is a different scenario because a lot of people said they didn't like COD this year. That just came out. I like it, and
I did too.
I barely get into a lobby where it's full people. It's like always one person not on the other team, or like it's not like it's empty in that motherfucker. It's like one person's not on the other team, or two people may not be on the other team, where it's not a full lobby. Now I don't know if that's the case on PlayStation 2. I mean PlayStation as well, but I'm pretty sure on PlayStation because there's just more people that have one. Those lobbies are probably full all the time, and it's not missing a couple of people here or there. So I don't know what Microsoft can do, like because Microsoft, like people saying they need exclusives. That's Sony's thing. That's Sony and Nintendo's thing. Microsoft has never really. They had games that unknown gamer would assume are exclusive because they didn't play on other machines, but they didn't have exclusives. Far Cry wasn't exclusive on Xbox. Halo wasn't. Fable wasn't. What else? Jade Empire, the Star Wars games, and the OG. Like a lot of those games were not only on Xbox original. Same thing with 360. Go ahead.
Knights of the Old Republic was. That's why I bought the OG Xbox.
I can't remember which Star Wars game, but eventually some of them came to PC. I don't know when they came.
Yeah,
but
they're there now. You're right. Yeah.
oh, they're there now. Okay, but
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like, is they didn't go to any other console, and that's what people are. I think that's what people focus on.
But this
It's just the
generation,
fact that they didn't go to any other
honestly,
console.
when you come talking about the fanboy wars and fanboyism, this generation is weird because now they care about that crap. No, they don't really care about it, but they care about it.
Exactly.
Because honestly,
exactly. I mean,
they're not. I think Nier Automata, I could be mistaken, was announced that it is coming to PC, right? I think they said
yeah.
I think that was
there's
announced.
a version coming later this year. Yeah, by the end of the year. To be honest.
But they don't care when that, like, you don't hear a Sony dude would never say, "Well, hey, since it's coming to PC now, I just get it on the PC." But let a game on Xbox and PC. Oh, I just get on the PC. Then
Well, if I had a game PC, that's where I would get it. But it's not. I mean, I don't have one. That's for me. I mean, I don't like the fact.
I'm just letting you know, what people say. Like, people say, "Well, why do I need an Xbox? I'll just get these games on PC." But like, let a game that may be on PC and PlayStation.
Okay, I can answer that now.
They wouldn't really say, "Well, I just get that on PC as well." They'll just still get that on PlayStation.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
Well, I can answer that now. The reason why that is because the Xbox community somehow has fallen prey to the whole power thing. And if you're going to fall prey and say, well, Scorpion's going to have more power, then it's going to bring in more people. Well, if you're going to put your games on PC, I might as well just go ahead. If you're going to just hang your hat on power, I'll go to the ultimate power. If I want to play Forza in 4K 60, I can get if you have the money, you get a 4K 60 PC, you can do that now. I mean, literally, you can do it right now. You don't have to wait on a Scorpion to do that. So that's why people are literally saying, well, if you're going to get it on the Xbox, it's going to be on PC. You can just get the superior version. You're right. It's another platform. It gives more people a chance to go and buy it and play it. But hey, look, the problem with getting caught up in the whole power trap is that there's always, what's the saying? There's always a bigger fish. There's always going to be a bigger fish. It's just, unfortunately, that's just the first rule. And that,
I mean, I'd have to disagree because what Grim is saying is like it's the same scenario for both sides. But when you're on the Xbox side, they'll say
you won't go.
Yeah, they'll say, well, hell, I'll just get on the PC. But when that same scenario, the same situation happens on the PlayStation side, they don't say, well, I'll just get it on the PC. They'll still get it for the PlayStation.
Yeah, and if we talking about power, I mean, to be honest, before the Scorpio was even talked about, announced anything like that, they were saying it then. It didn't start with when the Scorpio announcement came. It came way before, around the time when Microsoft was just generally putting most of their Xbox games on both PC and PlayStation. I'm not PC and PlayStation, PC and the Xbox pretty much all the time. That's when it popped up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, again, remember the Xbox launch. They brought out Forza. I guess it was Forza 5 at the time, and they had that orange car on the stage, which looked fantastic. But they came out there running their mouths about 1080p, and so Sony came back and said, "Well, we're going to launch Infamous Second Son, and it's going to be 1080p. Oh, then we're going to remaster the last of it. Is this going to be 1080p? I mean, that's kind of where things. I've always thought that power is just part of the branch of the trunk. Sony outsold Microsoft because they have the variety. A flat, like you all were talking about, you go to a buffet and they only got one thing there, you probably won't go back. To me, you need you need a bigger variety of games.
No. Hey, I'd have to disagree with you on that one, bro. I think what initially what drove people over to Sony side was the 2013 Xbox One reveal and shit like that. All the practices and everything else like that they were doing and everything like that. That turned a lot of people off. People, it don't make a difference if Xbox was coming to you with, if the Xbox was dipped in gold and they gave it to you with fucking, 20 games. People was like, fuck y'all. I ain't with that. I ain't with that shit and everything like that. So they went to Sony. And that's what started the divide. What widened the gap was how the games performed.
What about the price?
Well, on top of that, but what really widened the gap, and you can't deny this, what widened the gap is how the game, and it's still widening the gap, is how games performed on the PlayStation 4, stuff like that.
Really?
Hold on for a second.
I still think I think it's the price. Because honestly, if you're married or you have a girlfriend, you got a kid, and the mom, the woman in that relationship, because of oh man, he had to drop out. If generally if the woman ain't happy, nobody happy. And if she walks into the store with little Timmy and she sees an Xbox One, this is back during the launch, and it's $499, and she sees a PlayStation for $399, and she asks whoever, no matter where she's at, Best Buy, Target, pick your store, hey, what's this thing do that this one doesn't? And they say, well, they both play games. That's what's Susie gonna buy? Susie Homemaker is gonna buy the PlayStation. That's part of it. But I don't disagree. I think the whole power thing was overplayed. Like I said, I just think with some of the fanboys, I just think they're out of control. But I mean, on both sides. On both sides.
I mean, really, we talk power to power. I mean, really, this generation, Sony was talking about power. Microsoft didn't. See, that's the thing that's weird. Microsoft didn't really talk about power, but then Microsoft, they're doing the Scorpio thing, and now they're saying, okay, y'all care about power, we're gonna give it to you. Now it's not about power. It's weird. They keep flipping the script.
Well, to me, it's never been about power as much as variety. There's Widowmaker.
Yeah, my fault, man. Yeah, I had a phone call.
You're fine. I was gonna wrap it up here shortly because I got to work tonight. I got drafted. They got me.
Oh yeah.
Or in the medical field, but
if I can, if I can finish my point though, how the games performed on the PlayStation 4. That with that 1080p, 900p, with the little higher frame rate, this and that, with the games, the extra blades of grass, whatever the fuck. Everything it made, it painted a picture of these games or look and perform better on the PlayStation 4, coupled with it's cheaper and stuff like that. That right there is what Microsoft fucking shit up in 2013 with their DRM and everything like that. That started the divide. That cracked the ground. What widened the fucking gap is how all these games perform on the PlayStation 4 and that's where the whole power narrative went. Everything, it's 50% more powerful, $100 cheaper, multi-class perform better on here, and then game after game after game, when you have 1080p on the PlayStation 4, 900p, 720p on the Xbox One.
All right, that's not performance. That's just the way the game looks.
Well, hold on. That less screen tearing, whatever stuff like that. A more stable frame rate and stuff like that. Well, that's the game performance, isn't it?
Well, that's what the game looks like. It's like you all were talking about Titanfall earlier. Titanfall does look better on the PlayStation, but it's better balanced. I mean, it feels more balanced on the Xbox. I played and beat both versions. It's more balanced on the Xbox. You're trading that for what the game looks like. It's kind of like, you play a game on PC. You want the game to look good, you're going to sacrifice frame rate. That's what Sony's pretty much done this entire generation. They just now with the Pro, and it's having issues. They're looking into getting that balanced out and fit.
But still, the aesthetic of it is when you constantly see 1080p, 60 frames per second to 900p, maybe 30 or 60 frames per second or something like that. It continually paints, and that happens multiple times, game after game after game. It paints the picture as the PlayStation 4 being the console to get, the most powerful console. Games run better, games do this better and stuff like that. Higher resolution, better frame rate, everything like that. That is what continuously drove the Sony and Microsoft, the Xbox stuff and the PlayStation stuff apart. That's what made that gap. That's what's continuing to widen the gap up until today.
Right.
And stuff like that. So
I can't argue that. I mean, it's it wouldn't surprise me if that happened. I always go with price as a consumer. Like the only time I turn into a fanboy, as you can tell, is when we talk about Mass Effect. But as far as walking into a store, I don't care if the bag of Doritos. I want a bag of Doritos. It's $2.50 at Kroger and it's $3.99 at Kmart. I'm going to Kroger to get my bag of Doritos. It's the same bag of Doritos. It's going to taste the same. God willing.
But this is America, though, Jack. I mean, motherfuckers will go out there and buy $180 pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Just because they $180 pair of shoes, because they, and shit like that. I mean, I'll put it to you like this. In America, not saying what you're saying doesn't hold any weight, because people are like that too. But in America, Jack, motherfuckers will pay for some quality if they feel if it's worth it. If the Xbox One performed better than the PlayStation 4 and stuff like that, and then it would have been it probably would have been warranted that extra money, that extra that extra $100 or something like that. They'd be like, hey, it costs $100 more, but it runs better. That's how shit equates to in people's minds.
Yeah. Well, Grim, and wrapping up, you still there, Grim?
Yeah.
All right. And wrapping up, do you think, because now there's a narrative coming out of the Xbox camp here in the last 24 hours, that because the Scorpion is going to have the most power, and so in theory, multi-plat games are going to look and run better, like Widowmaker was saying. Do you see a mass defection of people moving from the Sony camp back into the Xbox camp based on that, or do you think it's going to take a little bit more than a little more ice cream and a cherry on the top? Or do you think power is going to drive people back?
No, because they're comfortable where they're at. I mean, they're not going to. There are going to be people that do it, but the mass majority of people, the 40 million plus people on PlayStation, most of those people are casual gamers, and they bought that machine because it was a popular machine. And if they're still comfortable with what they're got, just because because let's be real, last generation the Wii was the popular machine. The Wii outsold everything, but then the popularity of the Wii shifted, and people still bought it. A lot of people still bought it. They didn't change that, hey, the 360 is better or the PS3 is better. The popularity was there. It stuck. It stayed. Right. I don't think Sony is going to have an issue where Scorpio comes out unless Scorpio comes out and then Sony just starts doing a bunch of crap, like bad stuff to make people say, I don't want to be on your machine anymore. I don't see a big drift. I see there are going to be people that go over, but it's not going to be a lot, because you got to remember the people who buy the PS4 Pro, I feel that those are a small market. And I think the people who are going to buy the Scorpio are going to be a small market. The only thing that the Scorpio can do, because there's this rumor that people keep saying that the Scorpio is going to be fully backwards compatible with 360 games and potentially original Xbox games. That may be up, because there are still people that play on 360. I don't know if it's how many people there are, but the Xbox One, if the Xbox One Scorpio is fully backwards compatible with 360 at launch, that means that it's not doing emulation like the Xbox One is now.
Well, yeah.
That means it has the hardware to just run the games. And if that is the case, I'm not even gonna lie, I got an original Xbox I got an Xbox One right now. I would buy a Scorpio if I could, because my 360 is here, but the disc tray is broken. But if they had like a trade-in deal or something where I could trade up and I get the benefit of getting all the 360 games I want to play, plus my Xbox One games will look better. That's the icing on the cake. I really don't care that much about that. But, that would be good for me. And I can see people who haven't drifted over yet, they don't want to leave their games behind, saying, hey, I can get an Xbox Scorpio and get all my games. And, if those people are already thinking about getting an Xbox, they're like, I'm going to get the best Xbox One currently. Yeah, I can see those people going. But as in a lot of people, nah, like where there's a switch where Xbox is the more popular machine compared to PlayStation, I don't think it's gonna be that big.
Nah, man, it's not, because because what works for Sony don't work for Microsoft, man. I mean, if Sony, all this gen, if it was, hey, power this, power that, then because the multiplats run better on the PlayStation and stuff like that, scenario gets flipped with Scorpio, it's not gonna work because PlayStation people are gonna just flip the script and find something else to talk about. Well, what good is power if you ain't got no games? PlayStation got all the exclusives. That's what it's gonna be. It's like Grim said, some people are gonna change. Some people are gonna come crossover or something like that, but it's not gonna be a lot.
Well, I'll look into it if they get Mass Effect over there. I'll be like, hey, look, I'm back. I'm gonna make a Commander Shepard, even though he ain't even in this game. I'm making one anyway. But yeah, well, that about wraps it up, gentlemen. I appreciate you all joining me on short notice. With Scalebound being canceled, what are you all's thoughts in the comment section? Just leave them, and I'll let you two gentlemen please shout yourself out and plug your channel.
All right, man. Hey, Graham, you go ahead first, man.
Thanks. This is King Grimpachi, and I'm eating a taco, and I had a good time on the show, man.
Well, I appreciate it, Grim. I'm sorry it took so long for me to figure out what the hell to hit over here, but I'll work it out. Go ahead, Widowmaker.
Hey, it's your boy Widowmaker, man. Regular dude from the comment section, just like y'all. And hey, I appreciate, Craig, you sending me the shout out, bro. Grim, thanks for jumping in, man. It's always a pleasure.
No problem.
Yeah, and I am Craig Harris, the black man in the blue chair, who will be getting an Xbox 360 here to play some Mass Effect. That way I can give Microsoft some love. Give Microsoft some love, folks. They did IP a big hit on everybody, to the gaming community. I don't care if you're a Nintendo folk, PlayStation folk. When we lose IP, we all lose. But that's about it, guys. This is Craig Harris signing off. Gentlemen, I appreciate the good conversation. It was lively. I do appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
No problem. You're welcome.
Yep. No problem.